Hey, what's going on YouTube? So in this video, we are going to talk about the flat earth theory. Now, we are in the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, verse 6 through 8. And it says, "And God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening and there was morning the second day." Now, there are many people out there who like to say, well, God doesn't really know the difference between water and water. So there is water on earth, but the water he's talking about in the sky or above the sky is space. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean he doesn't know? I'll prove my point. In the story of Noah, it is well known there had never been a cloud in the sky. It never rained. Then people say, well, where'd they get their water from? They had aquifers, they had springs underground that held water that would come up. That's where they got their water from. Okay? So now that that's out of the way, how do you explain 40 days and 40 nights of raining? Think about it. There are no clouds. There was no thunderstorms. There's been nothing. Nothing. But it rains? Huh. And I think, and this is conjecture on my part, sort of through ignorance, I think Noah says something about the heavens opened up. You know, where have we heard that before? Oh, John in Revelation when he says, you know, the heavens receded like a scroll. Like, what? Think about it. You have the earth. You have water on the earth. You have the vault. That is, call it a glass dome, call it whatever you want. And inside the glass dome is the sky, where the birds are. And above it, there is water. And during Noah's flood, there are no clouds. There's nothing. So heaven opens up. It is a lot easier to fill a snow globe with water than to cover a sphere that is spinning, supposedly super fast, with water. It's a lot easier. Okay? I'm just saying it's a lot easier. And in my mind, from a biblical standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Just saying. Okay? Just saying. So, let me ask you. If you are a Christian, can mankind go to Mars? Can we go to Mars? A lot of you will say, well, we live on a sphere planet. We live on a place that, is special, this, that, and the other thing, and someday we will go to Mars. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Seriously. I don't want to be here for Armageddon. I don't want to be here for any other thing. I don't want to be here for the tribulation. I don't want to be here for the rapture. I don't want to be here for, if Jesus shows up, I don't want to be here for anything. So let's go to Mars. Think about it. If we could colonize other planets, what is the point in the Bible? Think about it. What is the point in the Bible? All of a sudden, Jesus doesn't matter because we can go to Mars. There will be no tribulation because we won't be here. We'll be living on Mars. Checkmate. You can't do it. If you're a true Christian, you need to look at this. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you've kind of just, made it to where I'm a little bit more of a science believer now. Why does science always rub so closely up against the Bible? In the book of Genesis, Earth was created first, and when you read the real translation, the Hebrew translation, it says the earth became formless and empty. That means it had been for a long time. All of a sudden, Christians don't have to explain how there's dinosaurs. It all makes sense. Mankind is a recent creation. It says, there's grass before everything. There's, there's plants before everything. Then there's the sun and the moon. And then we get fish and birds, and then the animals that live on the land, and then mankind. Well, what just basically, with the exception of the sun and the moon, you have basically been given the food chain. Mankind eats livestock and the wild beasts of the world and so on and so forth. And they eat the grass. Some of them eat fish. Some of them eat birds. It's the food chain. Right in front of you. Verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1 rather. In the beginning, that is time, God created the heavens, space, and the earth, matter. Time, space, matter. You keep going to verse 9. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. Gravity. Or weight, I guess you can interchange either one. Or he created something to make water to, weight. I guess weight. And the stars are in the firmament. The sun and the moon are in the vault. Okay? Think about it. Why have we not gone to the moon more than once? Okay, we've gone one time. And people question that. Why is it, we failed our rocket missions over and over and over and over again? And the Russians are succeeding, they're succeeding. And then 1 month later, after I think one Russian launch, we land on the moon? Failure after failure after failure. We launch one rocket, it goes to the moon and back, no problems. First time ever, no problems. It's like the test run is the real deal. The experiment is the real thing. What? How can anyone believe that? I don't believe that. It doesn't work. Why have we not colonized Mars yet? We could do it very easily. We could set up little bases and, things like that. They talk about this probe that's going past Pluto now. And it's like, okay, well, why can we not send one to the moon? Why can we not start to colonize the moon or set up a little weather station or something? Why do we send no humans to Mars, or rather the moon? And they will say, oh, well, because it's too dangerous. Really? Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient that, what was it, the Challenger? I believe the Challenger was one of them. Where one of them was leaving and it exploded, and one of them was coming back and it exploded. I think what happened is they were scared. And what I mean by that is they were sending up a shuttle, and it was like, okay, we're going to tell you now. We can't leave. We can't leave space. We can't leave Earth. We can't do this, that, and the other thing. There's a firmament. There's this, that, the other thing. We don't know. This is all for a show. This, that, the other thing. We're going to give you time to consider your faith. And, maybe they handed them Bibles or something. I don't know. I really don't know. But they get killed. Okay? They die. But we're supposed to believe we went to the moon, within a month worth of technology, and of course the technology had been, designed longer than that. But what I'm saying is, it's like, oh, the Russians have landed a probe on the moon or something like that, and then we go to the moon and put mankind on the moon, and we had failed at everything else, and it was the first time? Like, what? But our shuttles still blow up. We put people in the International Space Station all the time. Isn't that convenient? And of course, there's never any video of any sort of airlock opening up. There's no video of, them looking back at Earth. At least none that are real. Or none that's real, rather. I mean, come on. Some of this stuff you've just got to look at. And a lot of, I guess non-believers, people who like to poo-poo everything, they'll say, oh, so you're saying every astronomer and every this, that, and the other thing is in on the secret? No, you keep them in the dark. Do you see these men going to space? No, you don't. You don't see the astronauts going, let's go to space. You don't see NASA saying, let's put mankind on Mars. Let's do this, let's do that. And they'll say, okay, yeah, we're going to be able to do it in 2030. They just bought themselves 20 years to do whatever they want, to basically screw off. You get into all of these other countries supposedly having their space things and whatever. That's just all a part of the lie. Okay? It's not hard to keep a secret if all of the originators are dead. Think about it. You have 5 or 6 people who have actually seen the firmament, supposedly, and or rather, I'm making this up, and, it's like, okay, we tell our superiors who tell their superiors, who eventually are the Illuminati, who eventually goes up to the Fallen One, and they devise a plan. Okay, what we will do is create books. We will create people who are so-called smart, and we will write books, and we will prove constantly, try to prove or create a counterfeit to the Christian faith. And that has become science. And science has become science fiction, because without science fiction, you cannot have aliens. And that is what they're pushing for. They want the alien gospel, which I will do in a whole nother video. They have run into a brick wall. Think about it. Science has run into a brick wall. They cannot explain everything. They have no answers. They can't find all of the answers. So what do? They take the left field. They take the left turn. And they say, okay, well, maybe aliens created us. Yes, we can still deny God and say aliens created us. Yes, we can do both. Okay, let's do that. And you see that push. You see that sliding under the door, and it's coming up in the room, and it's in front of everyone to see, so that when they do show up, or when the rapture happens, they have an excuse to prove that God does not exist. And I say prove, but to prove to the ignorant and the arrogant and the prideful that God does not exist. And this is what they are going for. You need to wake up. All of the signs of Jesus are here. His second coming. I mean, it might not be this year, might not be next year, might not be the next 10 years, but the signs are here. He's coming soon. So, be ready, be on the lookout for him to come, because there are things, a lot of people like to say, oh, it's a psyop. Well, maybe it's not a psyop. Maybe the whole science thing is a psyop. And the truth has resurfaced. And we all of a sudden we've remembered, and it's like, whoa, okay, now it makes sense. Think about it, okay? Think about it.